here this morning, Central Time. They're trying to get the batter's box in playable shape. Both teams have not taken infield and outfield yet, as they are using some heat to try and get those batter boxes into being playable. The mountain is not was not in good shape this morning. It did rain, but didn't rain a whole lot. That's what is a little seems to be a little bit of a struggle here. Is that there wasn't a whole lot of rain. It was a soft rain that probably had about 2/10 of an inch here in Rapid City, but it's done enough to force the delay to start of this ball game. It looked like maybe we are going to get started right on time, but now as we have played through the first or have 10 minutes away from first pitch, we are looking like we're not anywhere close to starting at on time. So Post State and Mitchell here, they both went in third place, finished in third place in their pools. This is a big game for both of these teams, as Post State, they are sitting at the number 4 spot in the Class A standings, and then Mitchell is sitting in the 8th spot. So both these teams, a loss could drop them out of one, Mitchell not being able to host in the first round, and then Pierre could drop to not being able to host the first 2 rounds if they would lose this game. Obviously, Post State will face Spearfish in the final weekend on Friday, the final chance to play for the regular season. But sitting at 17-8, they're actually 16-8 because right now in the standings they have them beating the Rapid City Post 320 Stars when they only beat the Shooters, so that will not count towards the seed points for Post State. So they will drop down just a little bit, but not enough where they will drop to the number 5 spot. I think they are still above Runner, even if they take that out. But a win here would be big to jump those seed points up a little bit more, because that could, one, help give you that separation from Runner. But then that Tuesday game between Runner and Harrisburg, that doubleheader, you're looking for a split. If you're a Post State fan, you want a split because that will keep Runner and Harrisburg below Pierre in the standings. But if one team would get a doubleheader sweep of the other, that could hurt Post State's chances to still be in one of the top 4 seeds here this in the coming weeks when we have the state playoffs beginning here next week Monday. Not tomorrow, but next week Monday will be the start of the playoffs. It'll be the regional round with all 16 teams being in it. The top 8 seeds will host the bottom 8 seeds in a best of 3. Right now, as we look at it, Post State being the number 4 seed would take on the number 13 seed Yankton at Hyde Stadium. And then if they would win and seeds would hold out, Post State would then host a Runner in a best of 3 the following week, looking to get to the state tournament. And then the highest seed will host, unless it's Post 22. Post 22, they will use a McKeek Field for their region and super regional round. As long as they win that first round and get to the second round, they'll use McKeek Field here in Rapid City. And then it will be to the second highest seed if Post 22 is still in the tournament, as they are sitting at number 1 right now. The Post 22 Hard Hats at 18-3 on the season in Class A. Brandon Valley number 2 at 13-5. 1.5 seed points behind Post 22. Watertown sitting at number 3 at 19-5. They have 42.3 points for the seed points, and Post State at 17-8, more 16-8 with 41.8 right now. Renner at 5, 11-6 with 41.7059. So it is not a whole lot of separation between these two teams for 4 and 5. Harrisburg right behind them at 41.4286. So it could be the difference of a thousandth of a point for Post State to make the top 4 seed or be the number 5 seed. Post State and Mitchell here from Pete Lean Field, home of the Post 320 Stars. The only game that Post State will play here today, the only game they'll play here at Pete Lean Field all season, as the Eights will look for a win, and this will be a huge win. Both teams are number 3 in their standings, their respective pools from this past weekend in the Veterans Classic. And now the Eights are going to look to beat Mitchell here this morning. It could potentially even be this afternoon, as they still are working on the field. We'll step aside for 3 minutes. We'll come back. You're listening to Post State Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. As we welcome you back here to Pete Lean Field, the Post States and Mitchell will set to battle here. And lamps are being announced, and they have said that we're going to start on time, but they have to be out of the way here in 3 minutes for us to start on time. And it does not look like we're going to be starting on time, but we'll go through the starting lineups here. As Post State will be the home team. Mitchell will be the visitors here in this ball game. Peyton Nash will lead things off. He is pitching here in in the only game of the day for both these teams. Kobe Larson will bat second. He's playing shortstop. Brady Hawkins, the first baseman, batting third. Austin Kerr will bat fourth, playing third base. Hunter Sally's the second baseman, batting fifth. Joe Van Overshield will be the catcher, batting sixth. Kobe Gillen is the left fielder, batting seventh. Carson Fahey, the right fielder, batting eighth. And Isaac Rue will round out the order as he bats ninth for the Mitchell Post 8 team. For Post State, the other pitcher in the ball game, that's Garrett Stout. He is also leading off as well. Be followed by River Iverson, the left fielder. Andrew Coverdale will bat third, playing second base. Andy Gordon's the first baseman, batting in the cleanup spot. Matt Lusk will bat fifth, place center field. Jack Van Camp, the right fielder, hit the home run, the only run that Post State scored yesterday. He is playing right field and batting sixth. Lincoln Keenels, the shortstop, will bat seventh. A.J. Gaden, the third baseman, batting eighth. And Cade Hinkle will bat ninth as he is catching. Looks like we are set, and it looks like we are going to have no infield outfield for today, and we're getting ready for baseball as Post State is about ready to take the field. We'll step aside for one more minute, come back with first pitch. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Pete Lean Field here in Rapid City, just about set here for baseball here this morning as we are right here at the 10:30 local time waiting for Post State to take the field. They're the home team, waiting for the umpires to get on the field. As I believe I saw one umpire behind the home the third base dugout and was not in any gear. He had the umpire pants on, but no umpire shirt, and if he was the man behind the plate, so he might be taking his time to getting ready for this ball game. So we will start just a little bit late here this morning, as it is the only game of the day for both Post State and Mitchell, as both teams went 3-2. Mitchell was in that pool yesterday in the Pete Lean Field pool that three teams went 3-2, and Mitchell gave up the most runs per 7 innings to be that number 3 team in their pool. Post State went 3-2. Hard Hats went 4-1, and Gillette went 5-0. So it was easy to figure out who was going to play where in the 1, 2, and 3. Is just then who was Post State going to play. This game was scheduled to be at 1 o'clock this afternoon, but it ended up being changed around. Gillette's going to play in the championship at 1 o'clock local time against Alliance. That they came out of the other pool, and Rapid City Post 22 Hard Hats. They decided that they're going to play the final game at the Fitz as they are the number 2 team, and they have moved those games around, which then, because they were actually going to go play here at Pete Lean Field on, they were going to play here at Pete Lean Field at 3:30 in the third place game, but they decided to move that around. The Rapid City Post 320 Stars, they moved back to play their final game of the day here at Pete Lean Field. So everything got moved around. I don't think anything is the same except for maybe that 1 o'clock game that's going to be played here. That might have been the only thing on the schedule that did not get changed around, as we will have the national anthem. So we'll step aside for 2 minutes. We'll come back with first pitch. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here, Pete Lean Field set for this ball game as Garrett Stout is warming up as he will deal with the Mitchell Colonels. This team, Post State, won 7-2 a couple weeks ago. In the one game that they played, they had a triangular that Post State ended up not finishing that third game of the day as the Mitchell and Sturgis played in that second game, and then Post State and Sturgis played in that third game of the day. That was against I'll have to go back and see if I can't find out who Post State was playing, as it was a win for Post State over that Mitchell team, 7-2. Yeah, it was against that Sturgis team that Mitchell ended up beating Sturgis in the next game, and then Post State, they had a 3-1 lead. That game got rained out. Peyton Nash will lead things off. We're set for baseball here this morning. Garrett Stout will deliver the first pitch. We're underway as that one is taken for ball one at 10:35 local time. Just 5 minutes behind schedule. Here this afternoon, the 1-0 is just a bit upstairs, now 2-0. Only game here at Pete Lean Field for Post State this season. Had a doubleheader sweep of the Post 320 Stars last year here. The 2-0 is upstairs, now 3-0. That mound could be difficult for these pitchers and these two guys that are on the mound and up the plate right now. 3-0 pitch. That one misses upstairs, and it's a 4-pitch walk. And everything was up high from Stout. And going to try and work that mound down a little bit. They really made that thing dried out. Kobe Larson will now step to the plate. He walked 3 times in the 7-2 loss. Post State won 7-2, gave up just 3 hits in that win a couple of weeks ago. The first pitch, that one is over for strike one from Stout to Larson. Larson did go 0 for 1, but walked 3 times. He's playing shortstop here in this ball game against Post State. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2 on the off speed. Larson will be followed by Hawkins, then Kerr, Sally, then Overshield, Gillen, Fahey, and Rue to round out the order for the Mitchell Post 18. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Just a bit upstairs, right above the letters, and it's now 1-2. And early on, looks like the high strike won't be there for this home plate umpire. Stout will come set from the stretch. Here is the 1-2 pitch. Just a bit outside, and now it's 2-2. From 0-2 now here to 2-2. Runner on first, that is Peyton Nash. Stout will get the sign. He'll come set. Here comes the 2-2. That is outside, and now the count is full. Looks like the rain, there's a little bit of rain falling here at Pete Lean Field again. Stout from the stretch. Here is a 3-2. Runner is off. That is fouled back, and it remains at 3-2. Decent size behind home plate. From home plate to the backstop. Enough for any ball to the backstop. It will be an easy base taken. Here's a 3-2 again. Runner is off another time, and that's fouled back to the fence, and it remains at 3-2. So trying to avoid 2 straight walks here to lead off the ball game. This is an important game for both these teams in the Class A standings. Post State at 4, Mitchell at 8. You can see Post State fall to outside that top 4 where they wouldn't host both rounds. 3-2 is a swing and a miss. There's strike 3 and a strike him out, throw him out, and there's now 2 down. A great pitch by Stout to get Larson swinging, and a bullet to second base, and Coverdale had the tag on Nash. 2-3 steps in front of the bag, and there's now 2 down. And that'll bring up Brady Hawkins, the first baseman. Hawkins threw in that loss 7-2 a couple weeks ago. I mean, he emptied the tank against Post State. I mean, he was flat out just tired after he finished his outing against Post State. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Hawkins. That's upstairs 2-0. These two guys will be teammates, Stout and Hawkins, next year. Both going to South Dakota State to play baseball. Here's the 2-0 pitch. And it's now 2-1. Although the amount of time they'll spend together. Well, actually, I think they're going to be roommates, so they'll spend a lot of time together. Maybe not so much on the baseball field, as Hawkins will be a pitcher and Stout will be an infielder. Now it's 2-2 as a check swing and through either that or a called strike. But the count is 2-2 with 2 down here in the top of the first. Stout still working from the stretch. Didn't like how he started from the windup. 2-2 right down the middle. Looked out for strike 3, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. Half an inning is complete. Post 8 coming to the plate with a scoreless game. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Back here at Pete Lean Field, you're listening to Post 8 Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. I think we might have said today's KCCR. Old habits are hard to break. It's interesting, too, because it's not like we'd never have games on Capital City Rock. It's just always the White Capitals that are on Capital City Rock, and Post 8's always on today's KCCR. And it's just without thinking. Just say what it is and say the station. But we're on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. And I'm sure maybe some people are going, I don't know if I heard that. Board op Ryan Warren, he didn't even notice. So, I'll throw my own mistake out there for everybody. Garrett Stout will lead things off. He's 6 for 18 here in the tournament through the first 4 games. Peyton Nash will deliver the first pitch to Stout. He'll look at it upstairs for ball 1. River Iverson will bat second. Andrew Coverdale is the number 3 hitter. Andy Gordon cleaning up. Matt Lusk batting 5th. Jack Van Camp batting 6th. Lincoln Keenel is batting 7th. A.J. Gating batting 8th. And Cade Hinkle will bat 9th. As Stout will watch the 1-0 pitch bounce in the dirt, and it's now 2-0. And with the rain that fell this morning, and looks like it's just barely sprinkling right now, a couple of umbrellas have been thrown out here in the ballpark. 2-0 is off the catcher's mitt, and it's now 3-0 of Joe Van Overshield. And Stout has got a 3-0 count. We'll see what he wants to do. He's a free swinger at 3-0. Nash will deliver the 3-0 pitch. Stout will watch it and take ball 4. And both pitchers have allowed a 4-pitch walk to the other pitcher. And there's a runner on first with nobody out. It was a 4-pitch walk from Stout to Nash, and then Nash had a 4-pitch walk to Stout. And the first batter of each of the top and bottom of the first. Now here's River Iverson, 3 for 14 so far. Nash will come set. First pitch is missed low for ball 1. Mitchell has had a couple of injuries as of late. 2 guys that are have leg injuries. Parker Bollinger and Jonah Schmidt. For Jonah's name quite a bit when Post 8 has played Mitchell here this year. 1-0 is over for strike 1, and evens the count on the ball and a strike. So they're dealing with that late season injury bug. Nash will come set from the stretch. Here is the 1-1 pitch. Iverson will watch it go inside corner now, 1-2. It's just a couple of sprinkles here. It rained just about 0.2 of an inch here this morning. Getting to the ballpark, the 1-2 pitch. Iverson will chop it foul. And remains alive at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Garrett Stout is over at first base. These two teams split all the way back the first doubleheader of the season. Just about a month and a half ago. June 7th. That was Mitchell's third and fourth game, but Post State's first and second game. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Iverson out towards center field. Coming in on it will be Isaac Rue. He'll make the catch. And there's one down here in the bottom of the first. As we go around the horn defensively, Kobe Gillen's out in left field. Isaac Rue just made the catch in center. And as Carson Fahey out in right. Austin Kerr, the third baseman. Kobe Larson, the shortstop. Hunter Sally, the second baseman. Brady Hawkins at first. Joe Van Overshield behind the plate. As Peyton Nash, the starting pitcher, will deal with Andrew Coverdale, looking for his 9th hit of the tournament. First pitch is over for strike one. Coverdale is 8 for 15 with 3 runs driven in. Stout, Van Camp, and Gaydon here in the order have 4 RBIs each here in this tournament. The bats have come alive, although Post State, they scored 46 runs in 5 games. As Stout is off of the pitch, the throw to second, it will be offline. It was taken for strike 2, but Stout was able to take second base, and now he's in scoring position here with 1 down. And the count is 0-2. And Stout digging himself around second base. First base and second base a little bit more tore up. Third base is pretty clean right there around the bag. And Stout's looking to make that a little messy, trying to come around from potentially a base hit. The 0-2 is fouled and grounded to Andy Gordon over in the on-deck circle. There's some heavy water that was dumped right on the dirt around the on-deck circle. Gordon was able to grab that before getting too much water on that ball, but Coach White trying to dry it out. Here's the 0-2 pitch. One more time. That was lined over to second base. It's caught by the second baseman just above the ground, and they will double off Stout over at second base, and that will retire the side here in the first. So both teams will get somewhat of a double play in the bottom of the in each of the first, top and bottom of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. We've played one complete. We have Mitchell 0. Pierre 0. You're listening to Post State Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. Austin Kerr will lead things off here in the top of the second. 4, 5, and 6 for Post 18 Mitchell. First pitch is over for strike one from Garrett Stout. Got 2 strikeouts in that inning and caught stealing on a strike him out, throw him out. The 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled back. Kerr was well behind. And it's now 0-2. Quickly 0-2 here to the number 4 hitter. Cleanup hitter Austin Kerr went 1 for 3 with an RBI. In that 7-2 loss, 0-2 is grounded foul to the third base dugout, pops up in the air, and Coach White jumps for it, but Coach Nas is the one that makes the play. And Stout will again deliver the 0-2 pitch here to the cleanup hitter Kerr upstairs for ball 1. And it's now 1-2. Outfield straightaway. Here's the 1-2. Here's a ground ball to the right side, fielded by Coverdale at second. Throw to first is in time. The leadoff man is retired here to open up the top of the second. You look at where everything's adds. It is 325 over in left field, 350 down in the right field line. Right center doesn't have anything with all the sponsors out there on the wall, at least that I can't see. 415 out in left center field and 370 in dead center. So you can run for a long ways over in the left center field gap. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Upstairs, 2-0. Near the second baseman, Hunter Sally. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That one will miss, and it's quickly 3-0. Joe Van Overshield, the catcher, is on deck. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Right on the inside corner, now 3-1. Stout was started that at bat into the windup here from the stretch. That was fouled away. It's now 3-2. They'll get in the parking lot. Here is the 3-2 pitch coming from Stout to the second baseman, Sally. The 3-2 is over for strike 3. He thought he had a walk. Garrett Stout picks up his third strikeout instead, and there's now 2 down as Joe Van Overshield will come to the plate here for Mitchell with 2 down in the top of the second. Van Overshield had a walk in that last game. It's hard to believe that these two teams played way back in June 7th. The first 2 games of the season for Post State. Feels like it's been a long time ago, but at the same time, feels like this season has just absolutely flown by. 1-0 pitch to Van Overshield. That one is at the letters, now 1-1. The highest strike we've seen this home plate umpire call as we play here in the top of the second. This is the last week of the regular season. 1-1 pitch. That one's fouled out of play, and it's now 1-2. Because Post State will travel to Mandan on Wednesday, and then it will be home against Spearfish on Friday, and then it's the playoffs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That one will be upstairs. And it's now 2-2. But this year, Post State could technically lose 3 games in the playoffs and still win the state championship if they would go 2-1 against each team in the region and super regional, and then they could lose a game in the state tournament. The 2-2 misses, now 3-2. So for other years, I guess technically you could lose 3 as well. No, you couldn't. Yeah, you could never lose 3 because it's a double elimination. The first in the region tournament, and then double elimination in the state championship. That one's flown out to right field. Jack Van Camp gets turned all the way around twice, and he makes the catch out there near the warning track. Van Camp turned around, went from facing a glove side to the home plate, turned around where his left arm was facing home plate, and then he turned back to the other side again to make the catch. Got turned in circles, but he still makes the catch to retire the side, and that will end things here in the top of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, and no one left on base. After an inning and a half, it is no score between Pierre and Mitchell. You're listening to Post State Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. Bottom of the second inning, 4, 5, and 6 here for Post State, as it is a scoreless tie right now. Andy Gordon, Matt Lusk, and Jack Van Camp be the first 3 hitters for Post State. Andy Gordon, 4 for 13 so far with 3 runs driven in 5 games here at the Veterans Classic. Playing 6 games in 4 days. Doubleheader Tuesday, doubleheader Friday. 1 game yesterday, and then the final game here today. First pitch is inside to Gordon, and it's 1-0. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Nash to Gordon. That one misses inside, a little high as well. Now 2-0. Here's the first baseman. Everybody in the lineup except for A.J. Gayden has at least 3 hits. 2-0 pitch. That one will bounce in now 3-0, but Gayden does have 4 RBIs, and he had 3 in just 1 hit, and he's 1 for 6 so far. As he hit in game 2 and also game 4. Here's the 3-0 pitch. That one will miss low, and it's another 4-pitch walk the same way that started out the bottom of the first. Starts out here in the bottom of the second. And they'll bring up Matt Lusk, who is 6 for 10 with 2 runs driven in here in this tournament. He's a big key to this post-state success as he hits in the number 5 spot here. Him and Jack Van Camp, they hit the ball well. The rest of the team is really good, and they score a lot of runs when those 2 guys are getting a base hit after base hit. First pitch was taken for a strike 1, just scoots underneath Van Overshield. He didn't catch it cleanly, but not far enough for Andy Gordon to take second. So he still leads over at first base. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Nash to Lusk. He'll show bunt, pull it back, and take it high for ball 1. No hits in the ball game yet for either side. 3 base runners that have been on so far have all been by walk. And they all were 4-pitch walks. 4-pitch. As there's a check over at first, and diving back in safely is Gordon. Count is even at a ball and a strike. Nobody out here in the bottom of the second inning. Nash will get the sign from Van Overshield, checks the runner at first, and he'll come set. Delivers a 1-1. That one is on the outside corner at the letters, now 1-2. No strikeout so far for Nash. He's ahead in the count, 1-2. From the stretch, here's the 1-2 pitch from Nash to Lusk. Upstairs, and it's now 2-2. Gillette and Alliance, they are in the championship game. They're going to play that at 1 o'clock local time over at the Fitz. That was scheduled to be the final game, but instead, the Hard Hats, they're playing for third place. They've been moved over to the Fitz at 3:30. That one is outside on the 2-2 and just missing, and is now a full count, and we'll see if Andy Gordon gets put in motion with a 3-2 count and nobody out as he stands at first base. Nash will check the runner at first. 3-2 pitch. Gordon is off. Grounded foul past Coach Bryan wide over at third base. And he gets caught up in the tarp. This the rain that came through wasn't really talked about. I didn't think nobody really kind of saw that coming, but so the tarp was not on the field. And it caused them a little bit longer delay to get the game ready here. 3-2 is off the glove of Nash. And the field by the second baseman. The throw to first is not in time. And it'll be a infield single for Matt Lusk. And it's first and second here with nobody out. And good hustle by Matt Lusk. And that'll bring up Jack Van Camp, who is 5 for 10 here in the tournament. And Van Overshield will make his way out to talk with his starting pitcher and Peyton Nash. So Matt Lusk picks up his first hits for either side here in this ball game, as he's now 7 for 11 here in the tournament. And that'll bring in Jack Van Camp. 1 home run so far in his 5 hits, 4 runs driven in. Van Camp's got 3 home runs on the season now. A grand slam in Brandon. Hit a 3-run homer at home and went deep the other way yesterday. He'll try and bunt the first pitch back, and it'll hit the fence, and it's 0-1. Lincoln Keenels will be on deck. A.J. Gayden would follow him. So we'll now see if the bunt stays on for Van Camp. Trying to play small ball to get that first run in. Runners at first and second. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Van Camp showing bunt. He will pull it back as it's taken high for ball 1. And it's even at a ball and a strike. Third baseman and Kurz playing inside the bag. The first baseman and Hawkins as well. As Van Camp swings and misses, and it's now 1-2. As Kerr was flying in. The shortstop Larson was moving over to cover third base. So that count is 1-2, and would not expect to see Van Camp show bunt, even if he does pull back to try and swing. Nash will come set. Here's a 1-2. Will spoil the pitch, and he gets out of play. And it remains at 1-2. Here with nobody out in the bottom of the second inning. Andy Gordon stands at second. Matt Lusk will lead away from first. Van Camp could drive in his fifth run of the tournament with a base hit. 1-2. There's a soft fly ball into left field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Gordon read it well. He'll round third, and he will come in to score without a play. And Post State strikes first here at the bottom of the second with an RBI single from Jack Van Camp. His sixth of the tournament and his fifth RBI here at the Veterans Classic. And Post State looks to continue with a first and second here with nobody out and add to their 1-0 lead. Here is Lincoln Keenels, 5 for 10 so far here in this tournament. 3 runs driven in, went 4 for 4 in the Game 3 win against the Flyers. As he digs in and waits on the first pitch. They're going to throw it to second. Kerr was charging in. Keenels was not showing bunt before Nash threw over to second base. I don't know if maybe Mitchell thinks that they've picked up the signs that Coach White delivers. Here's the first pitch. Keenels will bunt the ball down the first base side, and it's a perfectly placed bunt. The throw to first is going to be in time. What a play by Hawkins to grab with the bare hand and completely turn around to throw the ball to second for the first out. But Keenels does his job and play. I mean, that had to be a perfect play to get him out at first base, and they did. But it goes down as a sacrifice, and there's now runners at second and third with one down. I mean, the turn that Hawkins had to do, he picked it up with a bare hand, facing home plate, just completely did a 180, turned around, and flat-footed threw the ball to first base, second baseman covering, and got Keenels by a step, if at most. First pitch to A.J. Gaines missed for ball one. He's looking to drive in maybe RBI 5 and 6. That's a ground ball through the left side, and that one's through for a base hit. Van Camp will be held up at third, and it's an RBI single for A.J. Gaden. And it's now a 2-0 lead. Gaden's 2 for 7 here in the tournament with now 5 runs driven. He and Jack Van Camp with 5 RBIs each. And here is now Cade Hinkle. Hinkle's driven in just 1 run so far. He's 4 for 11 here in the tournament, but he's got a chance to drive in his second run with a base hit. The middle is back. Looking for a double play. Hinkle will try and bunt the ball. He'll bunt it up in the air. The catch is going to be made by the third baseman, Austin Kerr, and there's now 2 down. And that'll bring up Garrett Stout. And the safety squeeze on. And Jack Van Camp did not break until after that bunt was connected with, but it was popped up in the air, so he wisely stood put. Stout will line it into right field for a base hit. He'll drive in the third run of the ball game. Gaden will round second without hesitation. He'll get into third, and it's first and third again as Garrett Stout drives in his 5th run of the tournament. He is now 7 for 19. And that'll bring in River Iverson, the 8th man to come to the plate. 4 hits in the inning for Post State. 3 runs so far. I expect maybe Garrett Stout to be on the move here in this first or second pitch of this at-bat. And we'll see where the throw goes if A.J. Gaden would be able to score. Stout is off. First pitch is taken high for ball 1. Gaden will try and score. They cut the ball off. The throw, the plate is not in time, and Gaden will come in to score. It was a low throw. Sally couldn't grab it without having to really readjust himself to make that throw back home. And A.J. Gaden slides in safely and is now 4-0. As Stout takes second. One of those plays where you got to see it right away, or you got to know if you're going to go to not let up. Mitchell had the right play, just didn't execute it. A.J. Gayden did, and it's now 4-0. Count is 1-0 to River Iverson. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Iverson will foul it back off the top of the fence, and it will land behind the press box. So the count is now 1-1. Stout leads away from Sand, trying to drive in that fifth run is River Iverson. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That one misses inside, now 2-1. Post State's got a leadoff walk from Andy Gordon. 2 straight hits. An RBI from Van Camp and from A.J. Gayden. Garrett Stout drove in that third run. There's a ground ball off the third baseman and Kerr. Iverson will get over to first base, so the inning will continue on the 2-out air from Austin Kerr. And here is Andrew Coverdale looking for his 9th hit of the tournament. And would drive in at potentially his 4th run. And again, Iverson will probably be on the move. We'll see where they want to go with that. Garrett Stout, his speed could do the exact same thing that A.J. Gayden just did if they elect to throw it to second. Here's the first pitch. Iverson will take off. Coverdale will have a ground ball through the left side and through the hole for a base hit, and it's now a 5-0 lead as Andrew Coverdale drives in his 4th run of the tournament. And the 5th base hits of the inning and the 5th run of the inning. First and second here with 2 outs. And that'll bring in Andy Gordon, who led off the inning with a 4-pitch walk. 5 hits, 5 runs here in the bottom of the second. First pitch to Gordon. That's a curveball taken for strike 1. Gordon's got a chance to pick up maybe his 4th RBI of the tournament. Stout, Gayden, and Van Camp each with 5 RBIs here in the tournament. Iverson's at second. Coverdale at first. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Inside, now 1-1 to the first baseman, Andy Gordon. You are listening to KCCR FM Blunt. As the Riverfront Broadcasting Station, the 1-1 pitch is upstairs, now 2-1. A 5-0 lead. Glad you could join us here this afternoon as we pass the noon hour back in the capital city. Here on Capital City Rock, capitalcityrock.com. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Gordon will pop it up on the right side. Going back is the first and second baseman. And Sally will make the catch, and that will retire the side here in the bottom of the 3rd. But not before 10 men come to the plates for Post State. 5-run score on 5 hits, 1 error in the inning, and 2 men left on base. After 2, Post State leads Mitchell 5-0. Listen to Post State Baseball on Capital City Rock and capitalcityrock.com. As we welcome you back, top of the 3rd inning, it is 7-8-9. Kobe Gillen, Carson Fahey, and Isaac Rue to lead things off for Mitchell. First pitch showing bunt, taking strike 1 anyway to Kobe Gillen, who hits for the first time against Post State. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Here's a ground ball right back up the middle. That's through for a base hit. Almost got Stout on the shoot tops. But it's the first hit of the ball game for Mitchell. Second base runner, and the leadoff man is on board for the second time in 3 innings. Here's Carson Fahey, the right fielder. Mitchell's got work in front of him, down by 5 here in the top of the third. First pitch just a bit upstairs, and it's 1-0. The big shutdown inning here for Post State. I mean, this is a big, big game. Half your games have been very, very important because you played Sioux Falls West, you played Rapid City Post 22, and now you're playing Mitchell here in this tournament. The 2-0 pitch is missed, and it's now 3-0. Here's the 3-0 pitch, and that will be missed for ball 4, and it's a 4-pitch walk, and that'll bring up Isaac Roop. Roop, the center fielder, he went 0 for 2. In the loss to the Post State 7-2 earlier this season, a couple weeks ago in that triangular, Roop will show bunt, pull it back, and take it for strike 1. So first and second here with nobody out. The first time that Mitchell has got a base runner to second base.
It's not. You can get it on YouTube.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one is upstairs now, 1-1. Runner at second, that's Kobe Gillen. Carson Fahey is over at first base. Nobody out here in the top of the third. We're again still showing bunt. Stout will step off. A.J. Gaden playing on the infield grass. He will most likely not be charging in because if the bunt is not had, then that runner can still get to third base. Now it's 2-1 as that's outside. Bruce showing bunt. You got to put it where you put the ball in play. So here's the 2-1 pitch. That was a bunt that's missed. It's now 2-2. In the strike zone and make Rue bunt it if he misses it and took a stab at it. The count is now 2-2. Stout from the stretch. Here's a 2-2. Rue is not bunting. It's now 3-2. And Stout's in danger of walking the bases here with nobody out here in the top of the third. From the stretch, 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss. And there's a strikeout with the first out here in the top of the third, 4th of the ball game now for Stout. And that'll bring in Peyton Nash, who walked and then was caught stealing. I mean, Nash is on top of the order here for Mitchell. Trying to inch back closer, down 5-0 right now. First pitch is over for strike 1 to the pitcher, Nash. He walked, caught stealing on that strike him out, throw him out in the top of the first inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Everyone's chopped at the plate, and it'll roll foul. And it's now 0-2. So now Stout's got a couple pitches to play with here. Up in the count, 0-2. Nash has got to be expanding the strike zone to protect. Now we'll get the sign. He'll come set from the stretch. Here is the 0-2 pitch. That one's fouled just towards the third base dugout. Remains at 0-2. Nash was well behind that fastball. You're looking for something more off speed from Garrett Stout. Here is the 0-2 again from Stout to Nash. That one is flown out to left field, and that will get out of play. And it will stay at 0-2. Matt Lusk is available. Did not throw enough on Friday to need 2 days of rest. Here comes the 0-2 again from Stout to Nash. Just a bit outside. And it's now 1-2. Good take there from Nash. That's the 50th pitch of the ball game for Garrett Stout. Here's the 1-2. On the inside corner, Nash looks at it for strike 3. Can't believe it, and there's 2 down. As Stout gets back-to-back strikeouts. Now 5 here in the ball game. And then here's Kobe Larson. Larson struck out swinging. One of those 5 strikeout victims in the first 10 batters that Stout has faced. The first pitch misses low for ball 1. Base hit by Gillen. A walk from Fahey. He's got first and second. Now with 2 down after back-to-back strikeouts from the starting pitcher, Garrett Stout. Here's the 1-0 from Stout. That one is over on the outside corner. It's now 1-1. For Post State, they'll have 5, 6, and 7. Lusk, Van Camp, and Keenels lead off the bottom of the third. Here comes the 1-1. Couple checks in a second. That one's popped up. Coming in is Lusk. Going back is Keenels. He will call for it. He'll make the catch, and that will retire the side here in the top of the third inning. First 2 men reach base on a walk and a base hit, but they are straight at that first and second. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 2 men left on base after 2.5. Post State has a 5-0 lead over Mitchell. You're listening to Post State Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. As we welcome you back here to the bottom of the third inning, Pete Lean Field, Post State has a 5-0 lead over the Mitchell Post 18 Colonels as Matt Lusk, Jack Van Camp, and Lincoln Keenels will be the first 3 hitters. Lusk singled and scored back in the bottom of the second as the first pitch misses low for ball 1. So far, no action in the right field bullpen for Mitchell. The 1-0 upstairs now 2-0. Post State scored 5 runs on 5 hits. They were handed an error from the third baseman, Kerr, and only had just that 1 walk in the inning. Count is now 2-1 here to the center fielder, Lusk, looking for his 8th hit of the tournament. 2-1 is on the outside edge, now 2-2. And Nash is falling behind. 2-0 has got the count even at 2-2. 2-2 is on its way. Lusk will fight one off and go to left field for a base hit. Might not have been what he was looking for, but he went down and got it. And a base hit for Matt Lusk. He's now 2 for 2. 8 for 12 here in the tournament. I'll bring up Jack Van Camp. Van Camp had an RBI single in his first at-bat. That drove home the first run of the ball game. That was in the bottom of the second inning, the only time that Post State has scored in an inning. First pitch is upstairs for ball 1, but it was a pretty good inning for the Eights. This is a big game. Post State, the number 4 seed. Mitchell, the number 8 seed in the Class A standings. 1-0 is upstairs, now 2-0. The loser of this game would probably fall from that, either being able to host both in Post State or being able to host that first round. Mitchell would probably fall to number 9 if they lose this game. Post State would fall to at least number 5 if they don't win this game against Mitchell. Pickoff attempt. Diving back in safely is Matt Lusk. 2-0 is the count. From the stretch, here's a 2-0. Way upstairs, goes off the glove of Van Overshield into the backstop, and to second will be Lusk. And Van Camp has Lusk in scoring position. Here with nobody out, a base hit could drive in his 6th run of the tournament. in a relatively, as Van Overshoe goes out and talks with Nash, an overcast sky all game long here at Pete Lean Field. As we check the radar to make sure, let's see, we'll look at the radar here, and there's some potential of some rain that might make its way through, but most of it has stayed north up towards Sturgis, so for the most part in the clear, outside maybe some sprinkles here and there. Here's the 3-0 pitch. That one is upstairs, and Jack Van Camp draws a 4-pitch walk. Third walk issued of the ball game from Peyton Nash. And out of the 5 walks that have been issued from both pitchers, 4 of the 5 have been 4-pitch walks. Here's Lincoln Keenels. He had a sacrifice bunt on an impressive play from Hawkins to retire him. Down the first base line. We'll see you here with nobody out. If maybe Keenels will try and bunt again. Hawkins is playing in. Keenels will foul the first pitch back. And it's 0-1. Not showing bunt on that first pitch. He is 5 for 10 so far. Nice 500 batting average through five games, hitting 4 of those 5. Had a complete game shutout in game 2. As he'll bunt this one, and a good bunt again on the first base side. The throw to first is in time. So back-to-back sacrifice bunts from Lincoln Keenels in his 2 plate appearances. But again, with runners at first and second, with nobody out, Keenels drops down a bunt to move them both into scoring position. And there's one down here for A.J. Gaydon, who could drive in 2 runs with a base hit. An RBI single in his last at-bat. 2 for 7 here in the tournament. 5 runs driven in. And a bases clearing at double earlier in the tournament. It's only the 3rd time he has come to the plate or been a hitter here in this tournament. That one was in game 2. There's a ground ball. That's going to get a run home. Fielded by the shortstop. Bobble. The throw to first is in time. And there's now 2 outs. And Coach White will see if he'll have an appeal to talk with the home plate umpire to say that he was off the bag at first. Coach Nas told Coach White that he was off the bag. Coach White said, okay, let's appeal that. Either way, it's going to be an RBI for A.J. Gaydon. Runner moves over to third base. It's now 6-0. And a long discussion between the base umpire and the home plate umpire. And they will say that he is out. And there is now 2 down. But another RBI for A.J. Gaydon. And here is Cade Hinkle, still with an RBI opportunity with Jack Van Camp over at third base. 6-0 is your score here in the bottom of the 3rd. 6 runs on 6 hits for Post State. Swing and a miss by Hinkle, and it's 0-1. Hinkle tried to bunt the ball the last time he came to the plate and ended up popping it up to the third baseman and Kerr. Here, the runner on third and 2 outs. The 0-1, swing and a miss, and it's now 0-2. Gaydon was 6 runs driven in here in 6 ball games, and only hitting in 3 of those. 0-2 is outside, now 1-2. Not a bad average of 2 RBIs per game from the third baseman here in this Veterans Classic. From the stretch, here's the 1-2 pitch. Hinkle golfs it out to right field, but it's going to get out of play. And almost hits a camper in the parking lot. And it remains at 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch again. Hinkle will fight off the 1-2 pitch and stay alive as he grounded to the third base dugout, well behind it. Umpire's about to pick up a ball that was thrown back to the pitcher, but time has not been put back into play. He let it go, but it's still a can't score after a foul ball on a wild throw. 1-2 pitch popped up into shallow center field. The shortstop will go back, and Larson will make a catch, and that will retire the side here in the bottom of the 3rd. after 3 innings. Post State gets 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. They lead 6-0 over Mitchell after 3 full. You're listening to Post State Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. Here in the now top of the 4th inning, Post State, they lead 6-0 over Mitchell, looking for their 3rd win in 4 games against Mitchell. Brady Hawkins, Austin Kerr, and Hunter Sally will be the first 3 hitters. All 3 hitters went 0 for 1 so far. Hawkins, and he threw in that. He took the loss against Pierre a couple weeks ago, as it was a 7-2 win for the Eights. Here's the first pitch. Hawkins will sky it out to right field, coming in on his Van Camp, and he will glide underneath it, make the catch, and there's 1 pitch and 1 out here to open up the top of the 4th. And that'll bring in Austin Kerr. The 3rd baseman grounded out to the 2nd baseman in his first at-bat. 1 down here in the top of the 4th inning. Post State could put up a 4 spot in the bottom of the 4th. They get a 0 here and then another 0 in the top of the 5th and can go home with a win and a 4-2 record here in the Veterans Classic. First pitch is upstairs for ball 1. Stout will come set from the stretch. Here's the 1-0. That one is grounded foul, and it's now 1-1. Gillette and Alliance, they're set to battle here in about another hour and a half for the championship. That's over at the Fitz. Was originally scheduled for 3:30. There's a ground ball right back up the middle, fielded by Keenels right behind the bag. Throw to first is in time, and there's now 2 down. Boy, Keenels made that look real easy. Just a light throw over to the first baseman and Gordon. And there's now 2 down. Here's Hunter Solly. Solly is 0 for 1. He struck out looking in his first at-bat. Stout continues to work from the stretch with nobody on base. Here's the first pitch. That's over for strike 1. Had a quick look over at second base, even though nobody's been on base in the first 2 batters. Here's the 0-1 pitch. And it's now 0-2 as that one catches the letters. Sometimes it feels a lot better for you when you go from the stretch instead of going for the windup. 0-2 pitch. And now it's missed and it's now 1-2. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, and Stouts gets a 1-2-3 inning here in the top of the 4th. 6-0 lead for Pierre over Mitchell. Back in a minute, you're listening to Post State Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. Here in the bottom of the fourth inning, it is going to be the top of the order. Garrett Stout, River Iverson, Andrew Coverdale. I believe we have a new man on the mound here for Mitchell. As Nashville, his day will be done. It'll be Josh Grossteter. That will be the new man here taking over. And we'll see where he sits in the lineup. And Nash usually goes out to play center field. I expect that he would be out there in center field. But for Post State, they will face Josh Grossteter here with a 6-0 lead in the bottom of the fourth inning. Stout was 63 pitches through 4 innings. Here's the first pitch from Grossteter to the pitcher, Stout. Stout with only 63 pitches through 4 innings. Looking to stay a chance to go the distance here with a 6-0 lead. But could really be helped out with at least a 4-run inning here, because then he could get a 0 in the 5th and have a complete game shutout in 5 innings. The 10-run rule win. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That one will also miss. It's now 2-0. Stout's 1 for 1 so far. He walked in the first and singled home a run in the second. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Here's a ground ball to the right side. Fielded by the second baseman, Solly, and the throw to first is in time. The leadoff man is retired. Here to kick off the bottom of the fourth. And that'll bring in River Iverson. Iverson is 0 for 2 so far. He flew out to the center fielder and also reached on an air. Just about the only man right now besides Hinkle. Everybody's got 1 hit except for Lusk, who's 2 for 2. 5 of the 9 guys have got a base hit so far in the lineup. First pitch is inside for ball 1. Here's the 1-0 from Grossteter. Swing and a miss. Iverson was way late on it. Made up his mind too late to make that swing. And the count is even at a ball and a strike. Grossteter from the windup. Here is the 1-1 to Iverson. Swing and a miss. It's now 1-2. Iverson was well out in front of that one on the off speed. Coverdale is on deck. He is 1 for 2 with an RBI. 6-0 is her score here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Iverson to left field. That's down for a base hit. Right between the shortstop and third baseman. And he's got himself his of the ball game. 7th hit now for Post State. And that'll bring in Andrew Coverdale, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI single. We'll see if Iverson will get started here early in the count. First pitch. Coverdale is over for strike 1. Coach White wants Iverson to take a bigger lead over at first base. 1 down here in the bottom of the 4th. Quick check at first base and back in safely is Iverson. Over at the Fitz, it is the Expos and Shooters playing. Didn't matter where they all sat. The Shooters went 0 for 0 and 5 on the tournament. The Expos actually had won 2 games. I'm not sure if they had. I believe they just went 2 and 3. We can get a quick check to see what that final score was in the final game between Rapid City Post 320 Stars and the Expos. The Expos actually went 3 and 2. They were 4 teams that went 3 and 2. The Stars went 1 and 4. Sioux Falls East went 2 and 3. But the Expos were not in contention to be a first place or any of the place teams. The Expos and Shooters, the 2 Junior Legion teams playing each other. There's a ground ball to the shortstop. Fielded to throw to second for 1. Back to first is not in time. As Larson threw it over for Solly, and there's a fielder's choice, and there's now 2 down. For Andy Gordon, who is 0 for 1 so far. He walked and then popped out to the short of the second baseman to end the bottom of the second. Gordon 4 for 14 here in the Veterans Classic. Coverdale will lead away from first. First pitch to Gordon. Swing and a miss. Gordon thought better of it after he had committed the swing. And it's 0-1. Two down here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Here's the 0-1. And Gordon will get a piece of it, but foul in the mid of Van Overshield. And it's now 0-2. Grossteter, after giving up, had the first two pitches go for a ball. Looked like maybe he was struggling to find the strike zone. Had a ground ball, gave a base hit, got to a fielder's choice, and with an 0-2 count as Gordon fouls it back, is looking for an efficient first inning on the mound here in the bottom of the fourth for Mitchell. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Gordon again. Coverdale's off with the pitch. The throw to second is well outside, and Coverdale will swipe second base. And now he is in scoring position with a base hit from Gordon to make it 7-0. 7 hits in the ball game for a Post 8, 6 runs so far. Count is 1-2 for the first baseman, Gordon. 1-2 pitch is outside now, 2-2. Against down with only 63 pitches through 4 innings. Still has 42 to work with in the last 3 innings. Here's the 2-2, and Gordon cranks it out to left field. That one is going back. That is far, and that is off the base of the wall, and Gordon will have himself a 2-out RBI double. And it's now a 7-0 lead. Just missing a home run by a matter of feet. And it's now a 7-0 lead as Gordon drives in his 4th run of the tournament, and he's now 5 for 15. And that'll bring in Matt Lusk. Looks to continue his hot streak here. He's 8 for 12 in the tournament. 2 singles so far, 2 for 2 here in this ball game. And he's got a man in scoring position here to drive in another run. He's driven in 2 so far. And surprisingly, out of the guys in the starting lineup, that's 8 out of 9. Hinkle's only driven in 1. Lusk, I say only. Lusk has only driven in 2, and I say that only again. Everybody else has driven in at least 3 runs or more. Stout and Gaydon and Van Camp have all driven in 5 runs each. Count is 0-1 here to Matt Lusk. 1 pitch. Lusk out to center field, over to right center field, moving over, still going back, and the center fielder will make the catch. And that one had a lot of charge into it. That one looked like it wasn't going to go as far as what it did, but it will be caught to retire the side here in the bottom of the 4th. 1 run scores on 2 hits in the inning, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We have played 4 complete. Post 8 has a 7-0 lead. You're listening to Post 8 Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. Joe Van Overshield will lead things off here in the top of the 5th inning. First pitch is over for strike 1 from Garrett Stout, who has thrown his 64th pitch of the ball game. Here, heading into the top of the 5th, the 0-1 pitch. The curveball that misses upstairs, and it's now 1-1. Van Overshield, Yellen, and Fakey, 6, 7, and 8. Here's the 1-1 pitch. There's a line shot into right center field. That's down for a base hit. Could be extra bases here to kick off the top of the 5th inning. and it will be a leadoff double for Joe Van Overshield. That one went all the way to the wall, out in right center. And the second hit of the ball game for Mitchell, and over in Kobe Gillen. He'll be followed by Fahey. Here's the first pitch to Gillen. Over for strike one. Just 2 hits so far here for Mitchell as we play in the top of the 5th. They have stranded 2 base runners only so far. Here's the 0-1. Swinging and a miss, and it's 0-2. And Gillen is down on the count, 0-2. You got a base hit to kick off the top of the 3rd. He's got the 2 hits. The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, and caught by Henkel, and down on strikes for the first out is Gillen. 7th strikeout of the ball game now for Stout. And here's Carson Fahey. So it looks like maybe Peyton Nash was the one that was actually lifted as Isaac Rue is on deck. The first pitch is over for strike one to Carson Fahey, who drew a walk. It was first and second with nobody out, and then Stout retired the next 3 hitters in the top of the 3rd inning. And the 0-1's a swing and a miss, and it's now 0-2. Stout's looking for now his 8th strikeout of the ball game. As Fahey whiffed on that one, and that one was well out of the zone. Stout, here's the 0-2 to Fahey, and there's another swing and a miss, and another strikeout, back-to-back strikeouts, and there's now 2 down, and that'll bring up Isaac Rue, the number 9 hitter, who struck out swinging his first at-bat. Kerr and Van Overshield are the only 2 hitters through the order to have not been a strikeout victim to Stout. First pitch misses for a ball 1. Grossteter is on deck for Peyton Nash. So that was the only change that they had. And time is called. Gamesmanship between pitcher and batter. Count is 1-0 here with 2 down in the top of the 5th. 1-0 pitch. Outside, 2-0. Isaac Rue made that catch out in center field, and that was a hard hit ball by Matt Lusk that at first looked like it wasn't going to go as far as what it did, but Rue just kept going back and back. 2-0 is at the letters, now 2-1. Rain has stopped falling, has stopped for the last couple of innings now. Umbrellas are all put away for it now. The 2-1 is a swing and a miss, is now 2-2. I'm sure for the Pierre and Mitchell fans that they would be certainly okay with not having to put those umbrellas back up. Stout's a strike away from striking out the side and leaving that leadoff double on at second base. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Right down the middle, looked out for strike 3. And Stout will get 3 strikeouts in the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on base. We have played 4.5, and Post State still has a shutout going. They lead 7-0 over Mitchell. Listen to Post State Baseball on today's Casey on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. As we welcome you back here to Pete Lean Field, it is the bottom of the 5th inning, and Post State now is 3 runs away from potentially winning this ball game in 5 innings. They lead 7-0. Josh Grossteter gave up just 1 run on 2 hits in that first inning that he came in to pitch. That was in the bottom of the 4th. Here he played in the bottom of the 5th. And for the Eights, they will have Jack Van Camp, Lincoln Keenels, and A.J. Gaden. Who those three hitters have combined for 3 RBIs. Kane Hinkle will be after that, and then back to the top of the order. Post State had 10 guys come to the plate in the bottom of the second. They scored those 5 runs on 5 hits. The only error the ball game was committed in that in that second inning. Here's Jack Van Camp. Van Camp, who is 1 for 1 with an RBI. He also walked. He's been on base both times. He was stranded over at third in the bottom of the third inning. First pitch is outside for ball 1. And 3 runs will win it here. That will be a big win for Post State. They're 6 away as well. 3 runs or 6 outs, whichever come first. The 1-0 is over for strike 1, now 1-1. Of course, that number could change if Mitchell would put up several runs in the next inning. But here is the now 1-1 pitch. There's a line shot, and that's foul. That hooked around the first base bag and lands in foul territory, and it's now 1-2. Van Camp 6 for 11 here in this tournament. 1 for 1 here in this ball game. Hope that continues into the playoffs. 1-2. That one's line. That one over the top of Coach Nathan Nas over at first base. So it remains at 1-2. Van Camp threw well on Friday night against Post 22 Hard Hats. There's a ground ball to the right side. That one does stay fair this time, and Hawkins will take it to the bag himself. And the leadoff man is retired here to open up the bottom of the 5th. And that'll bring up Lincoln Keenels. Keenels 2 sacrifice bunts so far. Both on the right side with nobody on. He's got a chance. If he drops on a bunt, he's all but for looking for a base hit. First pitch is inside for ball 1. Looking for his 6th hit of the tournament. 5 for 10 so far. Here is the 1-0 pitch. And it's now 2-0. Gross-Dieter. Get 1 run on 2 hits so far. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. And it's 2-1. Bottom fell out of that one. Keno swung over the top of it. And a 2-1 count here to the shortstop. Gross-Dieter from the windup delivers the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. And it's now 2-2. That one was outside, and Keno's chased after that one. Well, a 2-2 count. 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th. Gross-Dieter from the windup. That one handcuffed Keenels in the swing and unable to make contact. And there's the first strikeout of the ball game for Gross-Dieter. It's actually the first strikeout of the ball game for any Mitchell pitcher. Here's A.J. Gaden, who's 1 for 2 with 2 runs driven in. He'll swing the first pitch and foul it off the home plate umpire. Went between the legs of the catcher and off the inside of the leg of the home plate umpire. So Coach White will call A.J. Gaden down to give the umpire a little bit of time, and the catcher and Van Overshield will talk with Gross-Dieter to give the umpire a little bit of time. And so both 4 of those guys, and White and Gaden, then along with Gross-Dieter and Overshield, just kind of all almost looking at each other, saying, all right, who's going to be the first one to walk back behind home plate? A.J. Gaden is walking back, and Van Overshield will meet him back at home plate. Count is 0-1. Gaden with 2 for 8 here in the tournament. 0-1. Misses just upstairs, now 1-1. Gaden had a complete game shutout. 72 pitches in 7 innings. The 1-1 pitch, that was on Thursday. That one's grounded foul, and it's now 1-2. And Hinkle throws the bat at it to stop the ball. And coming in on the foul ball. Not a bad job there by Hinkle. Didn't have to really move. Just threw the bat down and let it stop Here's a 1-2 pitch from Grossteeder to A.J. Gaden. There's a chopper that's foul on the third baseline, fielded by the third baseman Kerr. Coach White had the backup. And it stays at 1-2. Post State will be in Mandan on Wednesday, at home against Spearfish on Friday, and then we will see who they will face in the first round. First round of the regions. The ground ball to the right side. That one comes up and hits the second baseman in Solly, and that one popped up right into the face of Solly. And A.J. Gain will get to first base. That one took a terrible hop right to him. I mean, that was on the ground the entire time and then just popped straight up in the air. And you got to give A.J. Gaden a hit because that's a tough one, tough play to make no matter what. So Gaden will get the infield hit. He's now 2 for 3.
Catcher number 25, Cade Hinkle.
So Hinkle is now stepping to the plate. He's 0 for 2. Boy, and Solly, I don't know how Solly was able to take that and shake it off a little bit. Gaden's going to get to second on a pitch that goes in the dirt. And he's in scoring position now for Hinkle. Base hit would drive him in with 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th. And that was a ground ball that, I mean, it was just a tailor-made ground ball to the second baseman. And Solly, and then all of a sudden just took one bad hop and went straight up in the air. I mean, if he might not have been able to make that fielding play if he would have stayed back on it the way from where he's sitting at. The count was 1-1 because that just took such a high hop and hard one too. 1-1 is chopped right in front of the plate. Picked up by Grossteeder. He'll throw to first. It is wide, and that one's going to get in the right field. Hinkle will take second. Gaden will come around to score. And it will go down as an error by Grossteeder. And it's now an 8-0 lead. And I would not be surprised if Garrett Stout will try and swing for the fences here. Because a home run would end the ball game. As it's 8-0 here for the Eights. Stout is 1 for 2 here in the ball game with a RBI single. First pitch swings and shoots it out to right field, and that one is going to get out for a walk-off home run, and Post State wins the ball game. It's a 10-0 win for the Eights as Stout hits his second home run of the tournament and wins it. A 10-run rule here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Stout will get a complete game shutout. And the Eights take it here over Mitchell. And we'll take a big Class A win over the Mitchell Colonels as they will now take on Spearfish in their final 2 games of the regular season. Back in 2 minutes, wrap. Listen to Post State Baseball on Capital City Rock and CapitalCityRock.com. As we welcome you back here to Pete Lean Field, and Post State wins at 10-0 in 5 innings on a walk-off 2-run homer from Garrett Stout, the third time he has ended the game here this season with a home run. 2 of them have been by the 10-run rule, and the other was a walk-off grand slam that won the ball game 7-3 over Mandan. And that's who Post State will play next, and that will be on Wednesday up in Mandan for the final road trip of the regular season. Post State, that's a big, big win in South Dakota Class A standings, because now with Mitchell taking that loss, but just a 47-point win for the Eights, that is huge. That will keep them above Renner and Harrisburg. A loss would have dropped them at least below Renner, if not even Harrisburg number 6, but have really set them up into a good spot here to try and be that top 4 team going into one of the top 4 teams going into the state tournament here in just a couple of weeks, as actually next week will be the final regular season week, and then it'll be then that following Monday when they start the state playoffs with the regional round that will take place, as Post State will host someone, whether it's the 13 seed, or it could be, if they drop down the 5 seed, it could be the 12 seed that they host to, but they will be home at least for that first round in the best of 3, and then hopefully would be at home again for the super region, and then they would be able to see where they would go if they make it to the state tournament and where that might be in the final 4. That would be played a couple weekends from now. The Post State wins it 10-0, 10 hits in the game, no errors for Post State. They left just 3 men on base. Garrett Stout goes all 5 innings with a 2-hit shutout, allowing Mitchell had 2 errors in the ball game, but only 3 men were left on base for the Colonels in that 10-0 win for the Eights over Mitchell here in this final game of the Veterans Classic. They go 4-2 this weekend here in the Veterans Classic, and they will head to Mandan on Wednesday. Game time of that first game is at 5:30 Central Time, so we'll be on the air around 5:15. It's going to be a late night up in Mandan, but Post State looking to continue that momentum and take it into Mandan, and then take it into Friday against Spearfish to finish out the regular season. Thanks to Ryan Warren back at the station. I'm John Winkler. We'll bid you adieu from Pete Lean Field as Post State wins at 10-0, and they will go 4-2 in the tournament, as we say so long from Rapid City.